Woe to me, for I have become like the leavings of summer fruit, like the gleanings when the vintage is finished. There isn't a cluster worth eating, no early ripened fig that appeals to me. The godly have been destroyed from the land. There is no one upright among humankind. They all lie in wait for blood. Each hunts his brother with a net. Their hands do evil well. The prince makes his request, and judges grants it for a price. And the great man expresses his evil desires. Thus they will weave it together. The best of them is a briar, the most upright worse than a thorn hedge. The time of your watchmen, of your punishment has come. Now they will be confused. Don't trust in your neighbor. Don't put confidence in a close friend. Shut the gates of your mouth, even from your wife, lying there with you in bed. For a son insults his father, a daughter rises against her mother, daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A person's enemies are the members of his own household. But as for me, I will look to Adonai. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me. Enemies of mine don't gloat over me. Although I have fallen, I will rise. Though I live in the dark, Adonai is my light. I will endure Adonai's rage because I sinned against him, until he pleads my cause and judges in my favor. Then he will bring me out of the light, and I will see his justice. My enemies will see it too, and shame will cover those who said to me, "Where is Adonai your God?" I will gloat over them, as they are trampled underfoot like mud in the streets. That will be the day for rebuilding your walls, a day for expanding your territory, a day when your people will come back to you from Ashur and from the cities of Egypt, and from as far as the Euphrates River, and from sea to sea, and from mountain to mountain. The earth will be desolate from those living in it as a result of their deeds. Shepherd your people with your staff, the flock that belongs to you, who live alone like a forest in the middle of a fertile pasture. Let them feed in Bashan and Gilead, as they did in days of old, as in the days when you came out of Egypt. I will show them wonders. The nations will see and be put to shame in spite of all their power. They will cover their mouths with their hands. All their ears will be deafened. They will lick the dust like snakes. They will emerge from their fortresses trembling like reptiles that crawl about on the earth. They will come with fear to Adonai our God, afraid because of you. Who is a God like you, pardoning the sin and overlooking the crimes of the remnant of his heritage? He does not retain his anger forever because he delights in grace. He will again have compassion on us. He will subdue our iniquities. You will throw all their sins into the depths of the sea. You will show truth to Yaakov and grace to Abraham, as you have sworn to your ancestors since days of long ago. Nachum. This is the prophecy about Nineveh, the book of the visions of Nachum the Elkoshi. Adonai is a jealous and vengeful God. Adonai avenges. He knows how to be angry. Adonai takes vengeance on his foes and stores up wrath for his enemies. Adonai is slow to anger but great in power, and he does not leave the guilty unpunished. Adonai's path is in the whirlwind and storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebukes the sea and leaves it dry. He dries up all the rivers. Bashan and the Carmel languish. The flower of Lebanon withers. The mountains quake before him, and the hills dissolve. The earth collapses in his presence, the world and everyone living in it. Who can withstand his fury? Who can endure his fierce anger? His wrath is poured out like fire. The rocks broke into pieces before him. Adonai is good, a stronghold in time of trouble. He takes care of those who take refuge in him. But with an overwhelming flood, he will make an end of Nineveh's place, and darkness will pursue his enemies. What are you planning against Adonai? He is making an end of it. Trouble will not arise a second time. Like men drunk with liquor, they will be burned up like tangled thorns, like straw completely dry. Out of you, Nineveh, he came, one who plots evil against Adonai, who counsels wickedness. Here is what Adonai says, though they be many and strong, they will be cut down, they will pass. And though I have made you suffer, I will make you suffer no more. Now I will break this yoke from your necks and snap the chains that bind you. Adonai gave this order concerning you. You will have no descendants to bear your name. From the house of your God I will cut off carved image and metal and cast metal image. I will prepare your grave because you are worthless. Look, on the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, proclaiming shalom. Keep your festivals. Yehuda, fulfill your vows. For Belial will never pass through you again. He has been completely destroyed. A destroyer has risen in front of your face. Guard the ramparts. Keep watch on the road. Brace yourselves. Marshal all your strength. For Adonai is restoring the pride of Yaakov, along with the pride of Israel, because plunderers have plundered them and ravaged their vines. The shields of Nineveh's warriors are dyed red. The soldiers are wearing scarlet. The steel of chariots flashes like fire as they prepare for battle. The cypress spears are poisoned. Chariots rush madly about the streets, jostling each other in the open places. Their appearance is like torches. They run here and there like lightning. The king of Nineveh assigns his officers. They assemble as they march. They stumble as they march. They hurry to its wall and set up shields to protect a battering ram. The gates of the rivers are opened and the palaces melt away. Its mistress is stripped and carried away. Her handmaids moan. They sound like doves as they beat their breasts. Nineveh is like a pool whose water ebbs away. Stop, stop. But none of it goes back. Plunder the silver, plunder the gold. There is no end to the treasure. Weighed down with precious things, she is void, vacant. She is made bare. Hearts are melting, knees are knocking. Every stomach is churning. Every face is drained of color. What has become the lion's den, a cave where the young lions feed, where lion and lioness walked with their cubs, and no one made them afraid? The lion would tear up food for his cubs and strangle prey for his lioness. He uses to fill his caves with prey, his lyres with torn flesh. I am against you, says Adonai Sabaoth. Her chariots I will send up in smoke. The sword will consume your lion cubs. I will destroy your prey from the earth, and your envoys' voices will be heard no more. Woe to the city of blood, steeped in lies, full of prey, and with no end to the plunder. The crack of the whip, the rattle of the wheels, galloping horses, jolting chariots, cavalry charging, swords flashing, spears glittering, the host is slain, heaps of bodies. There is no end to the corpses. They stumble over their corpses. Because of the continual whoring of this whore, this alluring mistress of sorcery, who sells nations with her whoring and families with her sorcery, I am against you, says Adonai Sabaoth. I will uncover your skirts on your face. I will show the nations your private parts, and the kingdoms your shame. I will pelt you with disgusting filth, disgrace you, make a spectacle of you. Then all who see you will recoil from you. They will say, Nineveh is destroyed. Who will mourn for her? Where can I find people to comfort you? Are there any better than No Ammon, located among the streams of the Nile, with water all around her? The flood her wall of defense. Ethiopia and Egypt gave her boundless strength. Put and Lebanon were there to help you. She went captive into exile, her infants torn to pieces at every street corner. Lots were drawn for her nobles, and all her great men were bound in chains. You too, Nineveh, will be drunk. Your senses completely overcome. Your senses completely overcome. You too will seek a refuge from the enemy. All your fortifications will be like fig trees with early ripened figs. The moment they are shaken, they fall into the mouth of the eater. Look at your troops. They behave like women. Your country's gates are wide open to your foes. Fire has consumed their bars. Draw water for the siege. Strengthen your your fortifications. Go down to the clay, tread, mortar, take hold of the mold for bricks. There the fire will burn you up and the sword will cut you down. It will devour you like grasshoppers. Make yourselves as many as grasshoppers. Make yourselves as many as locusts. You had more merchants than stars in the sky. The locust shed its skin and flies away. Your guards are like grasshoppers. Your marshals like swarms of locusts, which settle the wall on a cold day. But when the sun rises, they fly away. They vanish to no one knows where. Your shepherds are stumbling, King of Ashur. Your leaders are asleep. Your people are scattered all over the mountains, with no one to round them up. Your wound cannot be healed. Your injury is fatal. Everyone hearing the news about you claps his hands in joy over you, for who has not been overwhelmed by your relentless cruelty?